Please don't stop the music.
Yeah. That was like, I'm ready to just run to a wall after that, really touching.
I was ready for it.
For Zach.
Yes, there it is.
I was about to drop it.
Don't hurt him.
Well, before Jake introduces our fantastic guest, thank you all for joining live. We are slowly becoming better at this, which has been a process. We now have countdowns, so we're becoming more official. But again, thank you for tuning into the Unicorn Finders. That we try to find the unicorn people doing cool things, businesses doing cool things. And so we have a pretty cool individual with us today, Larry Long. Jake, if you want to introduce your good friend, which will now be our friend at the end of the podcast. Jake, take it away, buddy.
I will gladly take that title of good friend of Larry Long, though I don't think I've earned it, but I'll take it. Larry, you've been on and off the court, I guess, inspiration here in the Raleigh-Durham area, nationally, just from the energy you bring, the presence and the wisdom that you have around building sales organizations, creating buy-in across those teams, and bringing people really into your journey. So, from a Unicorn Factor perspective, we're super excited, to hear a little bit about your story, some of the stuff that you're up to now, and then just any nuggets or words of wisdom that you want to share to people as they try to just figure out life right now. And then, of course, where they're at in their business right now, because it's a lot of pivot right now happening, and hope some of it's good and some of it's not as good, but there's still a lot of movement going on. So we're just excited to hear your story, man. Thanks for coming on.
Man, I can't thank all three of y'all, Sir Jake, TD, and then DKT. I'm happy to be here with y'all. I am going to give you a warning. The lights are flickering. I don't know if I'm about to break the internet or if it's the remnants of that hurricane that's coming through, but the lights might be going out on us.
I'm feeling that too. Yeah. It was just like, keep the internet going. Come on, just a little bit more. That's awesome. Oh man, what's this week been bringing for you?
Life is good, man. Every week. I mean, you think about it. We all woke up this morning, right?
Sure.
All three of us. We woke up. That's a great place to start. It certainly beats the alternative for right now. I think the saying goes 6 feet over, or in my case, 5'9" 3/4. But who's getting technical beats 6 feet under. So hey, I mean, we got to make the most out of every day that we're here. I think the term is carpe diem. And I'm a gentleman who had it tattooed, carpe diem, and then carpe noctem. I said, oh, I'm a little bit old. I can carpe diem. I can't carpe noctem like I used to. I mean, shoot.
Larry, look at this, man. Your energy is causing a power spike, man. Keep it going.
That's my man, M squared. I appreciate you, Mark. I pay him a lot of money for him to support me. So thank you, Mark.
Hey, your own personal hype, man. I get it. Everybody needs one.
I love that.
Nah, but life is good. I mean, the week is going well. I mean, I work in a bunch of different worlds. The world of
oh my gosh,
athletics. Yeah. So you got sports coming back, which is good. College football. I know we got a Gator in the house.
That's right.
I mean, I'm a twerp. I mean a terp. And we laid an egg in football. So, I mean, I'm counting down. When does basketball season start? Kind of like those NC State fans out there after they got trounced by UNC. Ooh.
Too soon, Larry. Too soon. We'll leave my Gamecocks out of it, though. We'll leave my Gamecocks out of it.
Nobody's talked about them in a long time.
It's so good, man. I was actually out at lunch, a socially distant lunch, right before we did this, and I came back and ran into one of your teammates actually at Teamworks at that spot. And the word that he used to describe you, which I just reminded, which I thought was so awesome, was that you are one of the most effervescent humans that he's ever met. And I was like, oh my God, perfect.
Don't use words that I can't even spell on me.
Yeah, well, I didn't have to spell it. I just had to listen to it. I was like, that was perfect. Well, man, I mean, you're on your second runway up, that right, from a local perspective around these software as a service organizations. First with Pendo, as I think first head of development for them, or sales development for them, right?
Who's counting? And actually, I mean, I hate to correct you, but the first one was with SageWorks, who had a successful exit. Yeah, they had a successful exit 3 years ago, and I'm blessed, man. SageWorks
toolbox, right?
150 calls a day. I mean, that those stock options, those pieces of paper turn into some real paper. I mean, I've really been blessed. That's allowed me to not only build a house here in Durham, but also to invest. I'm a limited partner with Idea Fund Partners. Great learning lesson, and it's given me the opportunity to put my money where my mouth is. I love talking with startup founders, entrepreneurs. I love helping them, but now I can help them both with knowledge and insights, but also with the reach to the pocket with a little bit of money.
Hold on real quick. So I don't know Larry. So Jake, you just diving in. Like, Larry, tell me about yourself, man. Like, I don't know you. We don't know you. The 3 people plus my mom watching don't know you. So
I thought y'all did the scouting report. Y'all didn't get the clip notes. So in a nutshell, I can go long, but essentially Larry Long Jr. Played baseball at University of Maryland, worked at Accenture, wasn't passionate, moved down here to Raleighwood, opened up an indoor baseball and softball academy. I went to minor league spring training with the Dodgers and the Red Sox. And,
hey, congrats on your World Series.
The Dodgers just won it. I know we got Mark on here, big time Red Sox fan. They told me, hit the road, Jack, and don't come back. I moved down here to open up a baseball academy. That was my passion, helping kids with the fundamentals of the game, but also fundamentals of life. We ran out of cash. And when you run out of cash, you can't keep the lights on.
Yeah, man.
So I had to go back to the real world, back to the drawing board. And I've been in tech and tech sales leadership ever since. I've worked for 8 different tech companies, SageWorks twice, MedFusion, went back to MedFusion when they got acquired by Intuit, Channel Advisor, 3 Ships, Pendo, and now I'm director of collegiate sales at Teamworks. And we believe Teamworks makes the dream work. I'm also an advisor to RepView, which is essentially, it's a data-driven, similar to Glassdoor, but it provides sales professionals with a peek under the cover of what's going on within sales orgs. And then also I'm on the board for Helios, which is an organization based out of Durham that supports the small business community. Really those underdeveloped, those underrepresented communities, helping to provide them with money and support to help them have successful businesses. So life is good. And then I'm an LP with Idea Fund Partners, allowing me to invest resources, i.e. money, into the small business ecosystem. So that's me tied up in a bow in a nutshell. I don't leave home without the gold mic. I don't leave home without the Pendo Pank bat. I mean, I got a bag of tricks over here. What else do you want?
Larry, how did you pivot from Accenture and opening up a baseball academy into sales and tech sales? Talk to us about that transition. How did you find that was where your passion, where you could be successful was?
Yeah, I guess I was blind because when I was at Accenture, my colleague said, "You're leaving for what?" Because Accenture was nice. It paid well, and got to travel, great experiences, work with some really talented folks. But I just wasn't passionate. I'm driving into work, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Money isn't everything, and I wasn't fulfilled. So I was given lessons on the side, which has always been, I love the game of baseball. I love all sports, and I love being able to help people and being able to help kids. I honestly would have been a teacher if they got compensated the way that teachers should be compensated.
But goodness gracious,
The baseball academy was the next best thing. I mean, we actually had a kid who, Evan Phillips, he made his big league debut, I think 2 seasons ago with the Atlanta Braves. He's now in the Baltimore Orioles organization. Who would have thunk it as a 10-year-old? We never would have imagined, but that's not why I did it. I did it, and I get fulfillment from my former students that are like, "Hey, Coach Larry." They're hitting me on LinkedIn. "Hey, Coach Larry, I still remember head down, eye on the ball. I still remember you telling me to write down my goals and to map out the path." So my path has been, it's been a bit dysfunctional. It's been an adventure, and many times it's been a misadventure. So, I mean, it was intentional to go from Accenture to the baseball academy, I wasn't planning on the baseball academy failing and me having to go back into the quote unquote real world. And I took the job at SageWorks, making 150 calls a day to CPAs and accountants. My wife is from Argentina, and our immigration lawyer said, you've got to have a job that pays you a base. I would have worked in a job that was commission only, but she said, the government doesn't know how you can support someone else out on commission only. Wow. So it was really by a fluke. I played summer baseball in 1999 with JD Oliva. His father, Joe Oliva, used to be the AD at Duke, and SageWorks recruited a lot of Duke athletes.
Yeah,
he said, hey, Larry, I can put you in contact with the recruiter at SageWorks. They love athletes. If you're looking for something that has a base and upside, this is the great opportunity, and it all worked out.
Man, that's I think we hear that a lot about a lot of collegiate sports. Our athletes find their way into sales and very high up into sales too. Having that, I mean, is it just that chasing that, or like that drive, or the energy, or what? I mean, what do you think is that pull in?
It's all the above. I mean, I'm a big fan of athletes, and not all athletes are great fits for sales, but I love the coachability. Because if you think about an athlete, they've been coached probably pretty hard their whole life. They've had coaches that have been demanding. They've had coaches that have driven them. And essentially, it's that internal, I want to be the best. I mean, I saw this thing that Deion Sanders was talking about practice. And don't tell Allen Iverson, we're talking about practice.
Yeah, practice.
But Deion said, hey, why are you practicing? Are you just practicing because you have to? Or are you practicing because you want to be the best that you can be? You want to be the top of your game. And what I found, and I've got a rep on my team right now, Shaq Rashad. He played linebacker at Carolina. He played for the Houston Texans. He's progressing his professional career because of that internal drive. We keep score, and he's competitive. Yeah. He's not afraid of hard work. He's not afraid of taking risks, taking chances, and he's getting it done. So it's one of those things where I love athletes that have that internal drive in their heart. They have the smarts in their mind, and their actions are able to follow the heart and the mind to produce. Because we're in a production-based business. We keep score. It's like, hey, you're either winning or you're losing. I don't like to be losing.
Larry, let me ask you. I asked this because when I was in college, I worked in the football recruiting department, so I got to know a lot of those athletes. I've kind of been around the game for a while now. Obviously been in sales for a while. One of the things that I think parlays a lot from athletes being successful like yourself and moving is the idea of structure, right? For a long time in your life, you had to build up a structure, because to be a high-performing athlete like yourself, to get a D1 scholarship and play, you had to balance working out and training with school. You had to balance, additional working out. You had to balance the travel. You had to make sacrifice. But ultimately, you had to structure your day to not only be successful on the field, but in the classroom to get to that level. And that's what I've noticed about athletes. It's not always just their drive, right? I mean, it certainly is, but it's that competition piece. But I think it's the structure of, hey, if I know that I need to accomplish something, that's why I think there's such a high, and I don't know these numbers, I could be completely wrong, but this is my podcast, I can say whatever I want, is I think that there's such a high correlation between people that are in sports, whether it's, highly competitive or collegiate or professional, to being successful because of that structure. Talk to us a little bit about that. If you agree, if you disagree, we'll move on to another question.
No, I totally agree. And hey, just to support you, I'm gonna have to go and grab the bag of tricks. This is my old Franklin Covey planner from, this would have been 2000.
Yes, sir.
I remember going to buy the refills. The last time I bought refills for this thing was 2011, but my parents blessed me with this when I first started college. And you talk about structure, which goes into planning. You talked about balance. You're spot on. And it's so important for high performance in any industry, whether it's athletics, whether it's sales, software, whether it's anything, you can go across, whether it's healthcare, you've got to be able to balance, you've got to be able to plan, you've got to be able to have structure. And it's kind of like, I use a lot of sports analogies, which is why I love working at Teamworks. Yeah. People's eyes don't glaze over and they're like, what you talking about, Willis? But essentially, it's having a game plan and then being adaptable. It's kind of like the Patriots. And I'm not a fan, but a couple Super Bowls ago, they were getting whomped by the Atlanta Falcons. They went in at halftime and they said, this game plan, we need to rip it in half. They came back in the second half with a whole new game plan, and they won that Super Bowl championship. I believe that life, business, and sales is the same thing. We've all got game plans, and if we don't, we're in trouble. If you're operating without a game plan, we need to get that fixed ASAP. But essentially, if you don't have the flexibility to be able to take that game plan and adjust, you talked about it earlier, pivot, be flexible. And especially now with what we're going through, I mean, we're going through a pandemic. We're going through protests. We're going through politics. What else is next?
Seriously. Yeah, no more pee, please. No more peas.
So Larry, so I have a question. So obviously, again, comments, right? So we got Larry, your energy brings electricity, right? We're talking about, I wish I could have 25% of Larry's energy for the day, right? Like, Larry, your energy is causing a power strike, right? Like, so we see these individuals and they're commenting, they're like, man, I want Larry's energy, right? And I'm always fascinated with the heat people bring to conversations, right? And I think some of it's trained, in my opinion, but I think a lot of it isn't, right? And so the people who are watching this right now, if they're like, man, like, how do I get to where Larry's at? Larry, what would you say fuels you, man? Like, brings you the energy? I probably have some thoughts, but obviously,
I'm gonna be honest.
Go ahead.
Everyone has it inside of them, and it's a choice. It's a choice. I have a choice. When I woke up this morning, I could say, hey, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, which I got a good night's sleep, so I didn't. I feel great. But essentially, I could turn on the news, which is guaranteed to put me in a bad mood. But instead, I look at my beautiful children. I look at my beautiful wife. I count my blessings for everything that I have to be fortunate for. And I mean, I'll give you some background. My father, he grew up in Baltimore City. If you ever watched The Wire, that was his hood, the project of Baltimore City. Only one from his family to graduate high school.
Wow.
Only one from his crew to really make it out of the hood. Most of them dead or in jail. And he passed along to me through stories, but more importantly, his actions is that, hey, you've got a choice. Life can either be great and you can live your best life, or life can be the opposite. And my father passed about 5 years ago. I'll never forget, December 10th. He was up in Boston at a facility getting treatment for amyloidosis. It's a cancer of the blood. And I said, hey, Pops, that's what my kids call him. Hey, Pops, how you feeling? He said, Larry, this is the best I've ever felt. He was lying his behind off. He passed away on December 11th.
Wow.
He went to be at peace on December 11th. So and for him, he was psyching himself out. If I can tell myself this is the best that I ever feel, then it's the best I ever feel. Sometimes you have to psych yourself up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to say, hey, I'm going to stay with my chest. And what will be. It's kind of like baseball. In baseball, you're going to fail 7 out of 10 times. And if you do, you're going to the Hall of Fame. You're a 300 hitter. That's good. I'm a 70% failure. Yes. Keep up the great work. It's like, what?
Here's $50 million. Go for it.
Exactly. And I'll never forget my college career. I started off 1 for my first 24. I think it was actually 1 for my first 26, but I try to minimize just how bad I was. We played in Greensboro, the Spartans. My dad drove down. He drove to every one of my games. He was my biggest supporter. But I remember on the bus ride home, we stopped for something to eat. I called him and I said, I don't deserve to play D1 baseball. I don't deserve to play in the ACC. Tears in my eyes. And my dad, through the phone, he snatched me up and he said, boy, that's not the way that I raised you. That's not how we roll. Wow. Especially if you're going to keep my name Larry Long Jr. No, ain't nobody got time for that. So lo and behold, that weekend, I don't know where the Tar Heel fans are, but the Tar Heels came to town. You can check the Carfax. I got in the 7th inning, 2 for 2. I started on Saturday, 3 for 4. Came back on Sunday, 2 for 4. That was all she wrote. And it's crazy because my first hit, I got jammed. This is with a metal bat. I got jammed, blooped it over the first baseman's head. It's like Kanye West said, you can't tell me nothing. I'm a world beater. All my dad said, hey, get back to the drawing board, believe in yourself, and work hard. And everything else, it'll fall into place.
We do this thing with our kids.
that belief is so important. I think Henry Ford said it best. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. And in life, so many people, and I have that voice in the back of my head that says, don't do it, Larry. Yeah. I'm in the process right now where I'm launching a motivation, inspiration, sales, keynote speaking, coaching, training business. And I'm still gun shy from my baseball academy failing. My wife had to get up in me. She said, hey, you're telling everyone else to pursue their dream, but take a look in the mirror, Larry Long Jr. Yeah. You're scared yourself. And I said, I can't argue with that. I mean, first of all, happy wife, happy life. But secondly, she was right. It's like, hey, what am I doing? If I'm not practicing what I'm preaching, that's called hypocritical. So I'm battling those same demons, I guess you could say, and really trying to pump myself up, believe in myself, and make my dream happen.
Yeah, we do this we have 3 kids, as you know, and 9, 6, and 3. And every morning we have a specific thing my wife and I wrote for each one of them that we speak over them every morning, right? And that like sets our tone for the day. On days we actually don't do it, it's a pretty rough day in our house, but it's all about just speaking that life and that to ingrain in them to speak life to themselves and to others in that sense. And it's that it's important, it's important to have that pivot. I mean, how did you, I can imagine some of that translating over as you come in kind of ground floor at multiple companies, right? Where do you start? And have you come in, and you might not have to say company names, you come into companies where maybe they're already kind of downtrodden or they've already fought some battles, thinking kids now.
Maybe some bottles too.
Yeah, they're fighting battles with bottles, man. It's just crazy.
On guard.
Awesome.
They've already fought the battles. They're downtrodden. Where do you start, right? Where do you start on that to get them on track to get to that next step?
Yeah, with the organizations in general. Yeah. What do you see? How do you get organizations back on track?
It starts with the leadership. It starts at the head. And I do consulting with small businesses, mid-sized businesses, big businesses. It starts with the leadership. And ultimately, it's the name leadership. But I talked about this yesterday in my midday motivational minute. Leaders don't necessarily always have the title. I mean, I've seen folks with the title that aren't leaders. There's no one following them. They're not inspiring anyone. They're not leading, guiding, motivating anybody. And then I've seen folks that, and it's not the loudest voice. I mean, I know my voice is loud, but it's those folks that listen more than they talk. It's those folks that truly, and when I say truly, I mean legitimately care about other people. I've worked with and I think we all know, me monsters. I hate a me monster. That person who wakes up, there's 2 people. I mean, I hate to simplify, but there's the one person who wakes up in the morning and says, how much can I take from this world? Take. Gimme. Nah. Then there's the other side of people that look for how much can I give? What can I do? And Martin Luther King Jr. says it best. Life's most urgent and persistent question is, what are you doing to help others? And in today's world, in yesterday's world, in tomorrow's world, that's really the critical question. What are you doing? Not what are you thinking? Not what are you contemplating? What are you doing to actually help other people out? So you're absolutely right. You come into an organization, I want to look at the leadership. What are they doing? Where are their core values? I'll give you the company name, Intuit. They were one of the best companies I worked for. Number 1 core value was the people, the employees. Number 2 was the customers. And then number 3, they believed that we take care of our people, we take care of our customers, the shareholders are going to be in good shape. And you can look at Intuit stock value and see that check, and more check. Yeah. There was another organization, I'm not going to say their name, but if you check the Carfax, you'll be able to figure it out. They pretty much said, number 1, we're going to take care of our shareholders. Number 2, our customers. And then number 3, what are employees again? It's like, ooh. And I mean, there's no, they say success leaves breadcrumbs. There's no mystery in terms of why they were not as successful as they could have been.
Well, dang. Oh, can you tell me about a time like if you're having, all right, so you got the mindset, you got leadership squared away. Now you're on the play-by-play, working your way up through that, right? And if you've got a team under you, sales is hard, man. Like you do have to keep press and play is a phrase that we throw around our office a lot. Just keep press and play, keep press and play and keep going for it. And how do you kind of just pull people back up, when you get knocked down a few in a row, right? And what does that look like in your sales organizations?
It's a great question. And my keynote speech is sales is not a 4-letter word. And I'm glad to hear that your mom is tuned in. I wish my mom was tuned in. She's my biggest supporter. She said, Larry, sales isn't a 4-letter word.
Yeah, shout out Karen Dessen.
I said, come on, Mom. but you're right. Sales is tough. Life is tough. Life is a 4-letter word. We all go through our battles, but essentially it comes down to, and I spoke to a young lady earlier today, and I asked her why. Why are you in this sales position? Yeah. It doesn't sound like you're happy. And essentially, if you're not happy, you're probably not going to give it your all. You're probably not giving yourself the best chance to succeed. So essentially, I need to understand the motivation of each and every one of my team members, because this team member's motivation and why, as Simon Sinek talks about, is probably going to be different than this one and that one. As a leader, I need to understand that motivation. Where are they working towards? I mean, I'm a big believer that sales is playing matchmaker. And you're matching your product, your service, your thoughts, and or ideas with someone else's needs, their wants, their desires, their challenges, hopes, dreams, aspirations. And if you're able to make that match, even when you're leading a team, you're playing matchmaker. You're doing internal selling. Hey, rep, where are you trying to get to, and how can I help?
And sometimes you're playing therapist between those matches too.
Well, your job is to break down barriers and to provide them the resources and to guide and to lead them to where they want to get to. And I don't know all the answers. I don't think any of us do. But if we put on our thinking caps, we can certainly figure out some stuff, or we can figure out where do we go to find those answers to get you. Some of my best success stories and what I'm most proud of are seeing some of my reps that are now in leadership positions. Seeing some of my reps, Cameron Pelletier, he's working as a physical therapist. He was one of my smilers and dollars at Channel Advisor. And we talked through his plan. He was like, hey, this is my ultimate goal. And he talked about the Bretzel 2.0. I said, that sounds like an HR violation, but it's some sort of stretch that physical therapists work out. The Bretzel, I guess it is. But essentially, that was his goal. That's what he was trying to get to. What can I do to help you get there? Now, you've got to balance that with business objectives. You got to keep the lights on. So we need production. But I think they can both coexist.
Dang. Well, all right. We're 28 minutes in.
We still have lightning round.
No, we're going to keep lightning for another at least hour, 2 hours, right, Jake?
I've got.
We actually. This is Larry Long's masterclass.
Yeah, this
we
is
are
Larry
going
Long.
to record it, and we're going to sell it. So congrats.
Yeah.
And because I'm working on an online, on-demand sales training course going to be launching sometime in mid to late Thanksgiving. It might go with your Thanksgiving turkey.
There you go.
Hey, if you want to get away from your family on Thanksgiving.
But it's me and some friends just teaching some basics around the core fundamentals of sales. I love it. I'm learning so much.
Well, that was actually my last one. That's what I was going to ask you. If you're talking to a founder or a leader of a company that's trying to think sales around the software company, and they're going to be like, all right, it's time to grow our sales team. What's like 2 things that either A, they should ask in an interview before hiring someone and taking a chance on them, or B, that they should just look for like across the board? I know I'm putting you on a little bit on that, but I'm sure you have.
So I'll hit both of those. My go-to question is, hey, Jake, if I talk with your colleagues, your coworkers, Taylor and Dan, and I ask them, hey, give me the game plan, give me the scouting report on Jake, what do they tell me are your top 2 strengths? So it's really about self-awareness. And this is where the BS meter comes out. Jake's like, oh, they're going to say I'm the greatest guy in the world. I'm super competitive. I'm super productive. I'm just a beast. Okay. All right, Jake, I hear that from everybody, but I'll take your word for it. Now, on the flip side, if I were to ask those same folks, where can Jake be stronger tomorrow than he is today? What would they say are your top 2 opportunity areas for improvement? and then you just shut the heck up.
Yeah,
and that's where the gears start turning, and it's like, where are my opportunity areas for improvement? And then it's easy to fact check. Well, let me go ahead and talk with some of your references, and probably not your references because you've teed them up. Let me go and look at where you worked, and I'm sure I know someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me find out if you're telling me the truth or if you're shady.
Yeah.
The other one, what I look for in any rep, this is a leader, this is a colleague. I call it epic, and there's a couple C's at the end, but the E is entrepreneurial spirit. Do you take ownership of the results? I get a paycheck from Teamworks, but I run Larry Long LLC. I run my business like it's my own business. I take ownership and accountability. The P, we talked about it earlier. You talking about practice? Yes. Practice, preparation, and planning. The I, internal drive and desire. When you get hit with an obstacle, I want people that find a way over it, under it, around it, and if you have to, punch out right through it.
Yeah.
And then the C is communication. And so much of communication is listening. We've been blessed. It's by design that we've been blessed with 2 ears and 1 mouth. I want people that are curious. I want people that are confident. I want people that actually care. It's the give a damn factor. I don't know if there's HR around here, but it's the give a damn factor. Do you actually give a damn?
Yeah.
And then there's the intangibles, positive attitude, team player. Can't have any negative Nancy's, negative Nellies. Yeah. I think the great philosopher T.I. said it best. I don't want no mediocre. If you're mediocre, ain't nobody got time for that. We got to brush my shoulders off.
So that's rubber band man. Bounce back. That's good. Man, that's so awesome. All right, I'm going to let Taylor hit it with the lightning round. We're wrapping up. We're at 31 minutes. Man, this has just been awesome.
This is so good. Literally, so my goal for this last 30 minutes have been trying to take notes for us, to obviously repurpose notes, things you said. I'm going to be honest with you. I've done a terrible job. I've gotten so distracted by everything we've said that I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to everything because I really haven't gotten anything written down. So, Larry, I mean, from the bottom of our hearts, I mean, from mine, I mean, I don't know you from Adam until today. I'm looking forward to having you within the network now, man. I mean, you're an incredible individual. You're exactly the type of individual that we're trying to find Unicorn Finders, right? You're doing something special. What you bring to the table is incredibly special. So again, thank you. I know Jake, Dan can obviously agree with that as well. Thank you for coming on. So we do this with every episode, with every guest. We do a lightning round, 5 questions. I keep scores. Scores don't matter. First thing that pops in your head. First 2 questions are non-Halloween themed. The next 3 are going to be Halloween themed. So here we go. First off, beach or mountains?
Beach. Come on, man. You know, brother's got to work on his tan.
Heard that, man. Heard that. I love that. Second thing. So who's somebody in the industry? Who's somebody you're following right now that people can check out that like you think are doing really good stuff?
Great question.
Great question. That's an easy one. Number 1, Morgan J. Ingram, my man in Atlanta, working for John Barrows. He is phenomenal. He's been a mentor. He's younger than me, but he's been a mentor. I've got mentors and many mentors. He's been a mentor to me. At the start of this pandemic, I was putting out content on LinkedIn. I was afraid to get on video because, I mean, I got the face for radio. He said, Larry, what my mentor told me is that if you don't do it, you're being selfish. He said, if you can just help one person, if you can positively impact one person, it's well worth it. He told me that on a Friday. That Wednesday, I started my midday motivational minute. I just capped off. I think it was episode number 26 yesterday. All thanks to Morgan Ingram. You've got to follow him. MJI, Morgan J. Ingram down in Hotlanta. He hates it when I call it Hotlanta. Kind of like I know that he hated it when I said Nash Vegas. He's like, that's a chorus.
All right. Last 3 Halloween questions. First off, favorite Halloween candy. If you say candy corn, we're not airing the episode.
I'm in trouble.
You're kidding me. Are you candy corn?
I love candy corn.
You're like the second guest. Because didn't Nader last week like candy corn?
Yeah. And
like 3rd or 4th guest. That's all about
you
candy
get me
corn.
choked up. I love candy corn.
And
but I
Emily
love
likes
candy.
it too.
We'll go with Almond Joy. Love Almond Joy.
You just love the joy. Just throw some almonds on it.
Yeah,
So
seriously.
I'm a coconut. That is an HR violation.
Just edit that
Keep
part
the joy,
out.
hold the almond, please.
Yeah. And almonds and coconuts can kindly go pound sand. I get it. You can have my almond joy, Larry.
All right, next thing. Favorite Halloween costume that you've ever pulled off or attempted to pull off?
Oh, DJ Lance. You'll have to Google it. DJ Lance. I wore that, and my son, he started crying because he was like, man, DJ Lance put on about 50 pounds. DJ Lance is a skinny dude, and I'm not the skinniest of dudes. So the costume was kind of tight. I said, oh, I looked at my wife and said, how am I going to pull this off? I'm so embarrassed. Got my gut hanging out. Is this DJ Lance Santa Claus?
That's the dad bod DJ Lance. That's what it is.
I love that. All right, last question, Larry, and that will conclude the first round because I'm sure we're going to have you back. We've been talking about having all of our guests back again, maybe do a panel with a lot of the guests we have. So again, because we want to foster network, foster community with the individuals we meet. But last question of the day, what is your scariest movie you've ever seen? Or if you're a weirdo and like scary movies, what's like your favorite scary movie?
I mean, don't tell nobody else. I'm scared of scary movies.
Same.
So I've seen some, but I've blocked them all out of my head.
What's been the scariest one though? Like the one you're like, no, I'm not watching again. There's got to be one that's resonated with you.
Well, it's probably Scary Movie. I mean, the name says it all. It's like, good googly muggly. You're gonna give me nightmares. I like to go to sleep and I like to sleep in peace. And when I see some scary stuff, oh, it jacks me all up. I'm honest. I don't mess with roller coasters. I'm afraid of heights. I'm a little scaredy cat.
Listen, man, you keep it in the confines of like A to C, baby, and don't really go out of that. Like, listen, I love that. I love that. So as we finish up, just shout out some people. Eric Gunn out of our Dallas office. Great info, Larry. Thanks, TD, Jake, DT for setting this up. I need a daily dose of Larry's motivation, inspiration. Frank on YouTube, this is great stuff. Self-awareness is key. Obviously, your boy. Thanks for setting this up, Jake. Great session. Again, my mother. Alan, like I said, our choice to put ourselves in the best possible positions. So again, thank you everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it greatly. And y'all have a great rest of the week.
Larry, real quick, where can people follow you to get more motivation, learn more?
Yeah, you can peep me on my LinkedIn. I got a smile for a mile, Larry Long Jr. You can check out my YouTube channel as well every Wednesday, midday motivational minute. Yeah. I look forward to connecting. I want to say thank you to all of y'all for allowing me this opportunity to join you.
Absolutely.
Man, blessing for sure. Thank you so much. Well, you know where to find us, y'all. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. See you next week, everybody.